So good day everyone. We are the group 5 which we tackled about the module 5, which is learning or thinking styles and multiple intelligences. So in facilitating learner, we must consider the students' diversity because we all know that every student has different styles of learning and intelligences. We have here learning outcomes. First is describe the different or learning or thinking styles and multiple intelligences. Second, pinpoint your own learning or thinking styles and multiple intelligences. Third is plan learning activities that match learners' learning or thinking styles and multiple intelligences. So first, let's have defined what is learning or thinking style. So it is refers to the preferred way an individual processes information. So in a group of learners, there will always be different learning characteristics, particularly in the learner's manner of processing information. So some would absorb the lesson better when they work with their hands rather than when they just listen to it. So dili kay kana arano, some students likewise have preferred ways of expressing their thoughts, feelings, and ideas. Some would prefer to write, others would draw or even dance and sing. So let's have two perspective about learning or thinking styles, so which is sensory preferences and global analytic continuum. So what is sensory preferences? So it is refers to the preference in relations to information acquisition through sensory stimuli. So this includes sensory data that registers most quickly through visual, auditory, and kinesthetic. So from the word sensory, no, so we have here visual. So it's a sense of sight. Auditory is a sense of hearing, and kinesthetic is a sense of touching. So let's have first tackle what is visual learner. So they prefer looking at things to absorb information rather than listening to it or using their hands. So example of visual learners, no? So a visual learner can fix a car better if they watch an instructional video rather than listening to an expert, which is true because sometimes we can absorb the information easily if we see how they process that certain thing. So a visual learner would learn by reading, watching videos, or seeing pictures, so they understand and remembers things by sight. Saba kaayong manok diri. So, say Richard further breakdowns visual learner into two, which is a visual iconic and a visual symbolic. So, if you are a visual iconic person, you are interested more on visual imagery. So, those are example, film, graphic, displays, or pictures. No, they have good picture memory, so they would like to read a map rather than reading a book. But if you are a visual symbolic person, you are comfortable with abstract symbols, so symbols such as mathematical formula, written word. So the word, so kabaliktaran siya sa visual iconic kay they would prefer to read a book rather than a map. So ang iconic, a visual iconic is they would prefer to read a map better than read a book. So muna siya kalahian sa duha. Next, we have auditory learner. So, what is auditory learner? It is a learning style in which a person learns through listening. So, if you are a auditory learners, you learn best through verbal lectures or discussions, talking things through and listening to what others have to say. So, you can absorb easily the information if you heard and listen to it. So auditory learners also fall into two categories, which is listener and a talker. Mostly, if you are a listener, you can mostly remember things said to you and make the information your own. But if you are a talkers, they are the ones to prefer to talk and discuss. So in a class settings, when the instructor is not asking questions, talkers tend to whisper comments to themselves. Next. Next, we have tactile or kinesthetic learner, a learning style which takes place by carrying out physical activities rather than listening to a lecture or watching demonstrations. So, a tactile learner need to physically touch or try something in order to learn the concept best. So they learn by touching and doing things. So they often called multisensory learning. So why it is called multisensory learning? Because tactile learners hear or see to learn and complete their learnings by trying out themselves. So next we have global analytic continuum. So if you are a analytic thinker, you tend toward the linear. So meaning you tend to see finite elements of patterns rather than the whole. But if you are a global thinkers, you tend towards nonlinear thought and tend to see the whole pattern rather than particular elements. So, several theories have tied the global analytic continuum to the left brain or right brain continuum. So, according to Rogers Sperry's model, the left brain dominant individual is portrayed as the linear or analytic, while the right brain person is one who is viewed as global or nonlinear and holistic thought in preferences. So they call the left brain individual as a successive processor. So those are the analytic learners. So they prefer to learn in a step-by-step sequential format. So beginning with details, leading to a conceptual understanding of a skill. So a right-brained or global person, they called it simultaneous. So processor, they prefer to learn beginning with general concept and then going on to specific. So to understand more about analytic and global continuum, here's some comparison below. So as you can see, we have here left brain or analytic or what we call successive hemispheric style, and the right brain, which is the global or a simultaneous hemispheric style. So if you are a left brain person, you learn more on verbal, but if you are a right brain person, you learn things more on visual. So things visual means it is a sense of sight. So makita nimo. Next is a left brain person can recall people's name, while a right brain person can recall people faces. So see the differences between the two. So third, we have prefers formal study design, and the right brain person prefers sound or music background while studying. So if you are a person nga ganahan ka og naay music background while gatuon ka, or mas ma-absorb nimo ang lesson or mas ma-absorb nimo ang gitun-an nimo if ga na kay music background, then you are a simultaneous hemispheric style or a left brain or a right brain rather. But if you are prefers to formal study design, so ganahan ra kag hilom ra jud kaayo nga mag-study ka og mas maka-focus ka, then you are a left brain or a successive hemispheric style. Next, number 4, we have a left brain person prefers bright lights while studying, while a right brain person or simultaneous hemispheric style mas ma-prefer sila og frequent mobility while studying. So So for the continuation of our topic, let's have Miss Dallas would be tackled multiple intelligences.